Welcome back to the Millcreek Government Channel. I'm Jessica Stutzman. The Erie County Department of Planning and Community Development maintains the Erie County Comprehensive Plan and helps the county's 38 municipalities in their own comprehensive planning efforts. This department also administers grants for various programs and offers geographic information system services. Joining us today is Joy Franzoli, Environment and Recreation Planning Program Administrator, to discuss the new Erie County Parks, Trails, and Recreation Plan. Joy, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Jessica. It's a pleasure.
Well, you have been working on this plan. You've been working very hard and for a very long time, so I'm excited to have you on the show today. And before we get to the plan, I understand that you administer the Erie County Greenways Program.
Yes.
What is that program?
So the Erie County Greenways Program is a county program. It is funded by Act 13 funds, which is Marcellus Legacy funding. So it's natural gas development funding. Even though that activity is not currently taking place in Erie County, the PUC, the Public Utilities Commission, is tasked with taking funds from the Marcellus Act 13 and distributing them to municipalities and to counties to do good things like parks and trails and recreation.
So we still get to benefit from that even though it's not happening here?
Yes, yes. And we also, Act 13 funds also contribute to our transportation program as well for things like bridges and critical infrastructure like that.
Okay, and then you get to disperse those funds that come through that program because it's my understanding that Erie County does not own or operate any assets. So that's why you distribute it. Is
Yes,
that right?
yes, we do. And the county, I believe, back in the 50s or 60s, we don't own or operate any recreational assets. We don't own parks, playgrounds. We don't own any of that. That was all given back to the municipalities. And for example, Harbor Creek says, "Thank you very much. Look what we've been able to do with those." So no, Erie County does not own or operate any recreational assets. The program has, I think it kicked off in 2013.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. And so how many projects have been funded and what types of projects have been funded through the Marcellus Shale?
So the Act 13 funds, it was a competitive grant round. And between 2013 and 2016, a total of about 36 projects, separate individual projects, have been funded through the county's Greenways program using those funds. And it's gone from everything from park like master planning to actual installation of like playground equipment, master planning for trail improvements, actual construction projects for trail improvements, community gardens. So any type of trails, land acquisition. Asbury Woods benefited from the project as well for their boardwalk project. So we've done a lot of support throughout Erie County through Act 13 through Greenways.
Well, and I know the county is very, very grateful because, like you said, so many wonderful projects have happened because of that. And so the plan that we were talking about, the Erie County Parks, Trails, and Recreation Plan.
Yes.
How and when did this get started? Because I know that you have been working very hard.
Yes, absolutely. And the plan. So the Act 13 funds, again, annual competitive grant round. Before I came on board at the county, I came on board in June of 2018. They looked at, after the 2017 grant round of the Act 13 of the Greenways program, the county planning department said, how can we really utilize these funds? How can we best invest these Act 13 dollars into the county for more regional county-wide benefit? And so the planning began in early 2017 with the development of a steering committee with guidance. We hired I shouldn't say we, it was before my time, but a project consultant was hired. And we said, how do we really want to invest these dollars? And so that is really the Parks, Trails, and Recreation Plan was born at that time.
Okay, and so the purpose of the plan now and moving forward, what does the purpose look like?
Okay, so basically we wanted to look at the plan for the Erie County as a whole, and we wanted to look at developing a strategic and implementable plan. And what we mean by that is it's going to be actionable. These are going to be things that are going to get accomplished. And we wanted to look at the needs. We wanted to look at where can we focus these dollars? Where can we focus this investment in Erie County's network of recreational assets and their connections between the communities of Erie County, not just individual municipal projects, but how can we look at this regionally as a whole, and how can we focus, where are the needs, and how can we focus on Erie County as a whole? So that was the purpose of the plan, was look at the county and see, how can we focus our dollars.
And then as a part of this plan was an inventory or kind of like a calculation of what you already have as assets through Erie County and the different municipalities. Did you have to look at that too?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And so the project consultant looked at there was a lot of data, data collection, a lot of talking to the municipalities, looking at there are 38 municipalities across Erie County. Not all of them have parks. I believe there are a small number that don't have any parks. And so that's what we looked at, was what are the assets, where are the assets, looking at each individual municipality to say, okay, what do we have, and where are the needs? And so again, we wanted to look for more focused, more larger, more impactful projects, and how do we find those?
And so who is on your steering committee for the plan?
So the plan was initiated again at the Erie County Department of Planning. So planning staff, we have GIS, mapping staff, greenways person like myself. We developed a steering committee to kind of steer and guide the plan. And the steering committee, I believe, has 14 members made up of municipal representatives from the park system, the state, DCNR, City of Erie Parks. When you're thinking about parks and trails, you want to think about transportation. How does that tie into transportation? So we engage the City of Erie transportation folks, PennDOT, District 1, looking at various municipal representatives as well. And then, of course, it was the project consultant that really had the task of getting to know Erie County and getting to know us very intimately, and helping us really come up with these focused priorities, looking at Erie County, focusing these priorities, and that's what's going to guide the investment.
And you mentioned your GIS staff. Can you tell our viewers, if they don't know, what is GIS and what's all wrapped up into that, and why does it benefit us to have those staff members on board?
Okay, well, GIS is Geographic Information Systems, and basically it's a way to digitally identify, locate, and map assets. A GIS is a map. It's an interactive map, but it has many layers to it. You have your trails layer, you have your natural features layer, you have your transportation layer, you have even demographic layer like population density, access to parks and trails, where those parks and trails are. And so a GIS is a very powerful tool to help analyze. So a lot of what the consultant gathered, a lot of the information that was gathered through the interviews, the phone calls, it contributed to the GIS, and so you can see it visually. You can see the mapping visually of various sectors across Erie County. So it is, you can GIS map trails. You can GIS map like critical infrastructure. So it's just a very, very, very important and useful tool that we have at the county level.
And what I like about GIS mapping is you can turn on and off those layers.
Yes.
And so maybe in one map you may, like you said, you may need the trails and and the bodies of water, but you want to turn off, let's just say the streets, or you can turn on and off layers, or you might turn off the municipal boundaries, because if we're talking about parks, it's more maybe dealing with the geology of the situation rather than a municipal boundary. So,
absolutely.
Who did you talk to, and how was all of this information collected?
Okay, so before I came on board, and this project started again in it really early in 2017, and then toward the fall of 2017 was when the steering committee came together, and we had the first meeting of the steering committee and the project consultant, and so initially there was the information gathering stage. So we spoke with, the consultant spoke with all 38 municipalities. There was a series of questions. So there were 2 rounds of phone calls with very specific questions about their parks and trails and recreation. Everything from, your assets, how do you communicate with your residents, what are your challenges, that type of thing. So we had 2 rounds of phone calls with municipalities, and then once that was compiled, we looked at doing a public survey. We want to engage the public, and so the public survey, the public engagement took place during the summer of 2018. And I have to tell you that I came on board in June of 2018, and this was, the train has left the station and it is chugging down the track, and here comes Joy jumping onto this train. And I like to say it's like jumping into someone's massive wedding planning partway through. Because
What a good analogy.
Because it was wonderful. And so we have taken all of the data and all of the information from the municipal, input, and then we took it out to the public and we said, where do you recreate? How do you recreate? What is important to you? And we did public events all through the summer of 2018. And so that was absolutely critical to informing the priorities of this plan. And so with the public survey, we had an 18-question survey, and we had it online, we had it on the website, and we also had it on clipboards, on pieces of paper at various events throughout the county throughout the summer. We were at Dan Rice Days, we were at Erie Blues and Jazz Festival, downtown. We were all over the place. Cherry Festival. And one of the things I'm most proud of is this is a data-driven plan. Anyone who's taken the survey saw, we were asking for what municipality do you live in, what's your zip code, your age, because it's a data-driven plan. And for a representative data set to make this a legitimate plan, the consultant was interested in 250 to 300 completed surveys.
Okay.
Well, we got 501.
Wow.
And so I talked to a lot of people, and we were so very proud of that. That's something that I'm personally very proud of, to be able to engage that level and have that inform our plan. And so the public survey results were also, crunching the numbers into the data and analyses, and went into the mapping. And then in the fall of 2018, we started looking at key stakeholder interviews, snowmobile groups, Sons of Lake Erie Fishing Club, Erie County Conservation District. You name the key players. We try to engage as many people as possible, all levels of recreation. We didn't want to just focus on people that visited Presque Isle. We know that we have folks in the southern part of the county that are interested in equestrian and snowmobiles, and so we wanted everyone's voices to be heard. So we conducted the stakeholder interviews. So a lot of information was brought into the formation of this plan and to set the priorities of this plan.
Wow, you must be exhausted.
It's exciting. It's a lot of. I love people. I love engaging, and it was a really exciting process.
So what did you find out? What were the responses? What were the results? What surprised you the most?
Well, we asking the municipalities, what are your priorities? How do Parks and Recreation rank on your personal priorities? And again, when you're working with 38 separate municipalities, some municipalities have a little more capacity than others, and that's what we found. From tax base to just human capacity. Some municipalities we talked to. Yeah, parks and trails are great, but roads, like that, their priority is roads. We have to pave the roads, we have to plow the roads. And so, we talked about what are your challenges? Where do your priorities fall? If you could bring on additional people to your organization or your municipality, what would they be doing? That type of thing. So some of the feedback that we got, yes, parks are a priority. We're good. We have enough capacity and staff and funding, but others, they lack that human capacity. Boy, we could use a grant writer. Boy, we could use some, more people for operations. Boy, we could use people to help us, identify potential project areas. So. A lot of varied feedback from, and of course funding. Funding was a big concern across a lot of the different municipalities, was finding funding.
Yeah, and I think just working so closely with our Parks and Recreation Director, sometimes you just don't realize how much it costs to build a trail. Maybe trees need to come down, maybe trees need to go up, a restroom needs to be put in. Playground equipment is terribly expensive, and then making sure everything is ADA compliant. So all of that going into this, were you happy with the feedback?
Absolutely, and that was a lot of what we had asked the public was, how do you recreate? Would you like a playground? Do you want a ball field? And a lot of the feedback that we got, folks said we'd like a natural trail. We'd like more natural, wooded natural trail. If it were offered, that's what the preference would be. I think that topped the list. And also, we looked at how do you get to your recreation? Can you walk to the park? Can you ride your bike to the park? Do you drive to where you recreate? So, what is near to you? How do you get there? And again, like you said, being with, with Millcreek, where are the connections? How can you build on them? And how do you serve your residents?
So what are the main priorities of the plan moving forward now that you've gathered all of this data?
Okay, so one of the things, again, we talked about was, and back when this all began was, okay, this was a competitive grant round, annual competitive grant round for smaller individual projects that were very important. But we wanted to look at what are the larger, more regional assets. We have Presque Isle, Millcreek Township, gateway to Presque Isle.
Right.
What will bring people to Erie County? What's the regional draw? We have the Bayfront, we have the Seaway Trail, we have we've got Frontier Park, we've got Presque Isle State Park. Where are the opportunities for connection there? So we were looking at that. Like the priorities are looking at more the big stuff. What are we investing in? The big stuff, the smart stuff. Folks may or may not be familiar with the Erie to Pittsburgh Trail Alliance. They are trying to make connections from Point Park in Pittsburgh, and I'm proud to say that mile zero, the start of the Erie to Pittsburgh Trail, is going to be on Dobbins Landing. We've worked with the City of Erie, the Port Authority, the county. Everyone is on board and supportive, and so we want to be able to make those connections and close those gaps as that trail comes north or south through Erie County. And that is going to make so many opportunities for all the municipalities along that route. We're working with those municipalities. So that's going to be a big regional draw. We want folks to come to Erie.
Right.
Same thing with, we've got Erie Bluff State Park on the west. So how do we make these connections?
Right,
So we're
right.
looking at more larger regional projects.
And then that would help you, again, determine what grants you're going to fund moving forward.
Well, absolutely. And so if you think about leveraging these funds, if you want to focus investment, if you have, if you're instead of giving 20, smaller amounts of money, if you have a larger amount of money in the piggy bank, you can leverage those funds for larger, more impactful projects. So again, you can get a matching grant, you can get matching funds. The funding is the challenging part, but that's how we're gonna make these bigger projects work.
Okay, and
Yeah.
Joy, again, remind me, what is there a cap on the request that can be made for the grant funding? Is there a dollar amount that's the maximum?
And it depends on what grant you're looking for.
Okay.
It depends on what grant you're looking for, but there's a lot of different funding sources. Department DCNR, they have their C2P2 grant. DEP has grant funding. So there are other funding streams out there, but we're also looking to see, other than grant funding, how else can we support this plan? What other ways can we raise funds and establish funds, to support this plan? So it depends on the funder and the funding source. Depending is what kind of contributes to the cap.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you will have to officially adopt the plan.
Yes.
What's the process to make that happen?
So this is a countywide project through the Erie County Greenways program, and so what we're going to do, and we're going through the process now, is it has to go through the formal adoption process through Erie County Council, and the first step was appealing to and getting the support of the Erie County Planning Commission, and we have done that. They are on board, very supportive, and we have received their support. They're going to be helping us host the public meeting. We have to host a public meeting as part of the adoption process, and that's going to be on February 27th at 6 p.m. at the Erie County Conservation District on Wager Road, and there will be much fanfare about that. And so the county executive, she has also been a big proponent of, she's a bicyclist herself.
Yeah.
So she's a big proponent of the Erie to Pittsburgh Trail. So we have her support, and then ultimately it goes to county council. So with the procedure, there has to be a 45-day public comment period. So we're hoping to get this before council. I have to present this to council. We're thinking in April.
Okay.
Which, wouldn't that be great?
Yes.
Earth Day, Earth Month.
Yes, it's all going to tie in together.
All tying in together, having
Yes.
our countywide parks, trails, and recreation plan that's going to benefit everyone in Erie County.
Yes.
So we're going to have, get that through the formal adoption process. And then the work begins.
So then what are the priority actions in getting the plan implemented once you receive the approval from all those groups you mentioned?
So that is a fantastic question. And so the document itself, and again, the document is going to be a plan. It's going to be a booklet, but it's not going to be some boring plan that sits on a shelf. It's cool. It's got color graphics, fantastic. A lot of the information is illustrated graphically. We want it to read like a magazine, like something you flip through with your thumb and you stop at something cool. That's what we want. We want this to be an implementable plan, an actionable plan, something that we can be proud of. The photography of, we've documented a lot of the parks in Erie County, and so in the plan document itself, there is a matrix or a chart of action. The action plan is chapter 2. It's at the beginning of the plan. It's not hidden in the back in the appendix. This is an actionable plan. So there will be a lot of recommended actions in this plan. And so after the formal adoption of the of the plan into the county comprehensive plan, we need to look at establishing the park districts. We need to look at what is the organizational structure going to look like. We need to look at who is the individual. It's going to take a rock star individual to kind of put this in motion, coordinate with all of our municipalities, and so we want to look at some sort of organizational structure, leadership structure, like a parks commission or some sort of a board and authority, that type of thing. Yeah, so that's gonna help drive funding as well. Not only is it going to help to provide guidance and oversight across the entire county, but it's going to help us. How are we going to fund this? Not just now, but to make it sustainable for the future. This is going to be guiding Erie County for 10 years and beyond of our recreational assets. So, and where does the planning department come in? We are going to have a very, very, very important role in helping our municipalities and agencies and own and operate these. We have a vast amount of recreational assets in Erie County. So the planning department is going to be very important to seeing this through.
Yes, absolutely, Joy. There is so much that's going to be going on. Oh my gosh, you said April, and then from there, the work really starts.
Right.
So, how can the public view this plan and stay informed through the process? And do you still want public comment if they have any?
Well, we have been working on this plan for a long time, and it's been fantastic. It's been a great. So the public, we had an overwhelming response during the summer of 2018. So we are going to post the finished plan document to the Erie County Planning website. There will be a link there. The public meeting is going to be on, again, February 27th, and it'll be advertised. This is going to be blasted everywhere. We're looking for a great turnout. So look to the Erie County website in the very near future. Erie County Parks Plan has our own Facebook page. Excuse me. So,
oh, really? Okay.
Yes, we have our own Facebook page.
Out.
Yes. So it will be up and ready in the very near future for everyone to look at.
Good. Oh, you must feel good about that.
Yes, I can't wait to see how the planning is almost done. Now we get to start the work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Joy, our show is just about done. Is there any information or is there anything you want to leave our viewers here with today before we end the show?
Just this is an exciting opportunity, not just for the residents of Millcreek Township, but for Erie County as a whole. And we really see this as this is going beyond political boundaries. We want this to benefit all of Erie County.
And it truly does, and it truly will. Joy, thank you so much for all of your hard work on this. I really appreciate it. You've done so much, and I know we stay in the loop, and I'm just glad we're able to share this with everybody.
Well, I appreciate you having me, because this is exciting stuff.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks, Jessica.
Viewers, again, Joy has given us so much good information, not only on her Erie County Greenways program, but also on the Erie County Parks, Trails, and Recreation Plan. Again, look for that in the very near future on Facebook and social media, and go online just to check out the really neat things that the Planning Department, Erie County Planning Department, is doing. So I want to thank you for tuning into the Millcreek Government Channel, and until next time, have a great day.